Education, it is said, is in a state of crisis. It fails the children who need it most, poor minority children. But not here at this Houston school. At Wesley Elementary, a school where almost 90% of the children are poor enough to qualify for the federal free meals program, the kindergartners are way ahead of their suburban peers. They know their tables, and many already read fluently.
Freckles walked around his house. He looked at the red kite. He looked at the window. He looked at all the trees.
In Minneapolis, inner-city African-American schools perform poorly, in the lowest 20% of the nation's schools. But not here at Seed Academy. Here, students are on task and engaged.
Next word. Next word. Next word. Beautiful. Excellent reading those words.
The dog would stick his head out through one of the holes. You could reach through the other holes and wash the dog, and you wouldn't get wet while you were washing the dog.
These third graders are performing at a level a suburban school would be proud of. The school's performance on standardized tests place Seed Academy's African-American students in the top 20% of the nation's schools.
Leonard made pictures of some of...
The students, you can see the self-confidence that they've developed over the past few years, being able to pick up a book and read just about anything off the page.
Father said, Leonard,
we have first graders that are reading at a fourth grade reading level, kindergartners reading at a third grade reading level. So the proof is in the tasting, and we have enjoyed quite a bit of success.
You know that we're working on neatness.
The basis of this success is a curriculum called Direct Instruction, or DI. Developed at the University of Oregon, DI is a system that aims to ensure that all children master the basic skills of math, language, and reading, leaving elementary school with an unassailable foundation. The philosophy of direct instruction says that if a child fails to learn, it is never their fault. It's the instruction which is to blame. So everything is planned down to the last detail to make sure all children learn as efficiently as possible. Even the teacher's words are scripted. In the hands of a skilled DI teacher, children can go very, very fast, achieving results which previously seemed impossible.
Get ready. What's the name of our state, everybody? What's the name of our city? And don't scream. Get ready.
The name of our city is Houston.
Kids are really smart. They're like sponges. I mean, they walk in your room, they can't hold a pencil, they can hardly give you a complete sentence. And at the end of the year, I mean, they're at the end of second grade level. I mean, this is a lot.
What's the name of our mayor?
The name of our mayor is Mr.
I really like direct instructions. I mean, my kids can read just stories. And I don't mean a one-page story. They can read 5, 6, 7, 10-page stories. And they comprehend it too.
Wesley, when the kindergartners know all of the states, has inspired other schools to commit themselves to fundamental change. Schools like Herzl Elementary in the Lawndale area of Chicago. 3 years ago, Herzl was placed on the district's watch list of seriously low-performing schools.
When we realized we had been placed on the watch list, we knew at that point that we needed to do something different. We visited Wesley in Houston, and visiting Wesley, that really gave us a vision. We started to realize that if the children in Texas can learn, the children in North Lawndale can.
Again. Say fast.
Herzl began by introducing DI in the kindergarten and first grades. For the teachers, it was very strange, following scripts and getting kids to respond in unison.
What's that sound? Good. Do it again. What's that sound? Good. What's that sound? What's that sound? Okay.
I thought it would be easy.
Say fast.
But to be perfectly honest, once we got into it, I realized that it's very labor intense. It requires a commitment from everybody involved. We started originally with pre-service training for about a week for all of the teachers. With the week's training, they went into the classroom and started working with a coach in the room helping them. And then we realized that that just wasn't sufficient. So we started as a group to meeting 4 days a week for an hour each day in order to really, really become good in teaching direct instruction.
Get ready. Yes. Get ready. Get ready. Very good. Now read the whole word. Get ready. Sound it out. Get ready. Yes. E. Now read the underlined part. Get ready. E. Yes. E. Now read the whole word. Get ready. Still. Yes. Still. Very good saying that word. The next word. Here, we're gonna do this. No mistakes. No mistakes. Here we go. Look at it.
Today, Herzl is a transformed school. No longer on the watch list, staff feel they have a chance to make Herzl into another Wesley.
That's good. Try it again. What do you say this word? Word.
It's scripted, but it's not rote. Many people feel that children are bored. They're not bored. The children are happy.
Why don't you get tricked on these words? All right?
Once the children start achieving success, they want to work harder, and they do work harder. They are happy that they are able to learn. We found that it increased attendance. Children started feeling good about themselves, so they wanted to come to school.
What word?
I love going to classes now because I love seeing my children be successful. Well, let me test them. What is this word? Good. What is this word? Good. What is this word? We're seeing a great improvement in the standardized test results now over what they were prior to direct instruction. When we started direct instruction, we only had about 12 to 15% of our children reading at or above grade level as measured by the Iowa Test of Basic Skills. At this point, we have about 40% reading at or above, and our goal for this year is 50%.
Because Wesley showed success was possible, there is no longer any excuse for failure. Like other low-income, at-risk children, Wesley students start off behind, arriving at school with less than half the vocabulary words of their suburban peers. But year after year, a powerful instructional program has managed to overcome these disadvantages.
If a child has not learned to read by the end of first grade, we have failed him, unless he has a serious learning problem that needs another kind of diagnosis.
That was someone to come inside the city. They closed the great gate. This gate was so strong that an elephant could not knock it down. In fact, it was so strong that 10 elephants could not knock it down. Here's the rule about Troy.
Our children are having so much fun being smart. There are enough repetitions provided in each of these lessons for every child to be successful. If the teacher will teach 2 lessons a day in kindergarten, you will have children who are ready to read on 2nd grade level when they walk into 1st grade.
We know that many children in the inner city come to school behind academically, so we have to accelerate them at a very early age. The problem in education, this crisis that we talk about, is not a hardware problem. It has nothing to do with these children's genes. It has nothing to do with them physically. It's really a software problem. It's how we program these children. And by going to Wesley, it was clear to me that we could program these children for success instead of programming them for failure.
3 weeks. What problem did Leonard have with cracking eggs, Ariel?
He wasn't very good at cracking eggs.
He wasn't very good at it.
I'm convinced that the only way that we're going to solve this educational crisis in this country is at the organizational level. I mean, we can have thousands of great teachers, and we do have thousands of great teachers, but if each school building around the country is only relegated to 2 or 3 great teachers, then the impact is going to be limited. We have to really develop institutions that have organized themselves into a seamless pipeline where one grade lays the foundation for the next grade.
About how far is it from the northern border of California to the southern border?
That's the only way we're going to solve this educational crisis in this country.
To the southern border of California. Lamont. Yes.
Seed Academy and Wesley Elementary have shown that children who stay in direct instruction until 6th grade hold their own with their suburban peers.
The plants trained at the bottom of the mountain are large trees. As you go up past 5,000 feet, the trees...
But DI schools are not just found in the inner city. You find direct instruction in the mountains of Utah.
None. Ready? What word?
None.
Still none. Ready?
N-O-N-E, none.
Very good. Give yourselves a kiss. All right. This side.
You find it in private schools in California.
Sentence 7. A large bunch of red and yellow daisies were in the hall. What's the verb, class? Were. Were. That's right. Is the verb correct? No. No, it's not. You should have written a large bunch of red and yellow daisies was in the hall.
And DI has also enabled students who are not native speakers of English to succeed. In Rio Hondo, Texas, a DI program designed for older students is helping them to catch up.
Students are coming with very little English.
Again. Ready? Hold. Look again, dear. Ready? Hold. Okay.
And we have children coming in reading level of kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and so we need to do something fast because we only have them here for 2 years, which is the 4th and 5th grade.
Spell type. Get ready.
T-Y-P-E.
Spell house. Get ready.
Despite success with children all over America, direct instruction has attracted criticism from some educators who think it is too rigid. But in fact, everything in DI is there to help children learn. Take, for example, the unison response.
What the unison response will do is it gives a number of repetitions very efficiently to a large number of people at one time. If one kid raises their hand, all I know is that kid knows. I don't know anything else. I don't have any feedback from anybody else. But if I can get a unison response and I can get everybody answering me, I have a good feel about how firm those students are. I've got a lot of information coming back. It also gives every kid their own chance to initiate their own response. They do it at the same time, but it's still their own response, and it's the next best choice from saying, it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn, and you don't have time to do that.
If Herzl Elementary could turn things around in a few years, can other struggling schools do the same?
Column 3, first word, what word? Next word, what word? Next word, what word?
The direct instruction program that's implemented at Herzl could be replicated in any school. However, we must realize that it's going to take a lot of work. It's not going to be easy.
Okay, very good. And let's look at that carefully.
Now move the ruler so that even after the ruler...
The first feature is to have teachers who are committed to direct instruction. It will not work if you have staff who does not want it to work. The teachers must be committed. The next thing is to provide the appropriate in-service training for the teachers. We can't expect them to go into the classroom and do a good job if they haven't been properly trained. So they do need training. In addition to the training, they need coaching in the classroom.
Everybody give something. That was really good.
This isn't a 9-to-5 job. This is a commitment to making a difference in the lives of children that may not come to school with a lot of skills in the first place. What's really important is a long-term commitment to this direct instruction implementation. Well, I would say a 3 to 4 year commitment in order to see the results on a long-term basis.
Have a good one. Bring me my homework tomorrow.